The restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz have forced nations to look elsewhere for energy. Canada is one place they've been turning to. But many say our lack of infrastructure and slow approvals process for building new infrastructure adds up to missed opportunities. Our next guest has spoken about that. Let's go to François Poirier, Chief Executive Officer at TC Energy. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
The Prime Minister has committed to a 2-year timeline to get projects approved. As you know, you say even that is too long.
Yes, I think when you're competing on the global stage, customers aren't going to wait when they need to contract for LNG. They're not going to wait for any particular country who could supply their LNG to finish their regulatory process. They're going to sign up for that capacity when they need it. And of course, with the geopolitical situation that's going on, there's certainly a sense of urgency around securing LNG from different parts of the world to diversify their sources of supply and, of course, look for paths that avoid the Strait of Hormuz. So being a bit more outcome-focused, being a bit more focused on the time-bound nature of the opportunity, I think is really important.
How long does it take for some other countries to get major projects approved?
We can just speak to our own example on our Southeast Gateway pipeline in Mexico. From our original application to receipt of our full permits was 7 months. It was a project of national priority. We certainly didn't cut any corners in terms of environmental assessments, in terms of consultations with landowners and indigenous groups. And another example would be in Germany, when the conflict in Ukraine broke out. They went from concept to actually a regasification facility to receive LNG being put entirely into service in about 1 year and 2 months. So there are examples of countries being able to do this.
Okay, you've remarked about the demand and how much it's increased since the start of the conflict in Iran. How much more gas could you export if the infrastructure was available today?
Well, right now, we're only moving about 2.5 billion cubic feet per day through the LNG Canada facility. Of course, LNG Canada is contemplating a doubling of that capacity to 5 BCF a day. There are 2 other projects that are looking to get built for LNG export, which would add about another 2.5 billion cubic feet a day. But I think we should aim high. Let's be the largest exporter of LNG to Asia, and that would be in that sort of 12 BCF a day range. The resource is there in the Western Canadian Basin. We have the know-how. We have a delivery advantage from the west coast of Canada to ship to Asia. It's a much shorter distance. It's about 8 days shorter than shipping from the Gulf Coast of the United States. And let's go after the business.
Is it worth investing now? Are we already too late? Does Asia have elsewhere to turn?
Well, this opportunity has come back around to us a second time, which is why I'm really making an effort to speak to this opportunity again. 15 years ago, we were at the start line of the LNG export business in North America with the U.S. Neither one of us had any export capabilities. If we were playing a hockey game right now, the score would be 8-1. We have 1 facility that's been commissioned and in service. The U.S. has 8, and they are the largest exporter of LNG in the world. I thought the opportunity had come and gone, but because of geopolitical tension, because natural gas has emerged as the fuel of choice around the world to balance affordability, reliability, and sustainability, the opportunity has come back around for Canada to punch above its weight, which will help us, of course, grow our economy. It'll help us diversify our economy away from the United States and create wealth for Canadians.
I wanted to get you on data center build-out, the hyperscalers building everywhere. Does TC Energy have any direct contracts related to that build-out, either in Canada or the U.S.?
We tend to focus on serving the utilities who in turn take the gas that we deliver them and generate power, and they're the ones who've been selling power to the data centers. Nevertheless, we've seen quite a bit of growth opportunity in terms of building out our pipelines to serve the utilities, who in turn are serving the data centers. And we see ourselves investing perhaps up to another $10 billion to serve that market over the next few years.
Okay, let me also ask you about Bruce Power. I know there was consideration of expanding the facility there. Is that still on the table?
Very much so. Right now, we're in the middle of the refurbishment of the 6 existing units, and we've been very successful in bringing those in on time and on budget. Ontario definitely needs more nuclear capacity, and we're very interested in speaking with the Ontario government about expanding Bruce Power to deliver an additional 4,800 megawatts.
Okay, let's talk about the focus for 2026. We've talked about a number of different points, what we need to build, where we can get the product. What would you say is the company's overall focus for 2026?
Well, our focus on 2026 always begins and ends with operating safely. But beyond that, we feel there's an opportunity for us to sanction even more growth projects in Canada. We're seeing an awful lot of growth and investment opportunity in the United States, and it's attracted most of our capital over the last few years. I'd like to see us investing more in the Canadian marketplace, expanding our system in Alberta to allow gas to get to more export points and see better pricing in the Alberta market for our producer customers.
François, I do have to leave it there. I'm out of time with you, sir, but thank you for your time. François is Chief Executive Officer at TC Energy.